Alright, Tactical Jason. I know you like your machete, but hear me out. Nunchucks. And always remember, when you are practicing or using nunchucks or any sort of martial arts weapon, you want to be very careful and use them with a professional around. Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, welcome. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a pair of nunchucks. These are a set of hardwood ones I made with the paracord. By you making these, I'm assuming you're putting them on your wall for display, or you're using them for actual martial arts, being trained by a professional. These are really dangerous and you can injure yourself if you're not trained properly. I've been training about just under 3 weeks now, so I'm pretty much a ninja.
Whatever, dude.
But seriously, I really enjoy it. It's a very good workout. You wouldn't really think so, but once you start swinging these things around and moving around, it's actually really good to get the blood going. And if you are serious about training, I would highly suggest you get a pair of these. Amazon has them. You can get a set of like 2 of these in different color combinations for like 15 bucks. It's like PVC tubing in here with foam. These are perfect for training, practicing your techniques, and when you hit yourself in the head, and you will, you're going to thank yourself for getting the foam ones.
I'm in danger.
Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you how to do the corded version. And there's lots of things you can use if you have like old broom handle laying around, or a wooden stick, a straight tree branch from outside. I mean, you can make nunchucks out of a lot of different things. And actually, Amazon sells these packs. They're supposed to be 1 inch round by 12 inches, but they are just a few millimeters short of 1 inches round, and they're like 11.7 inches long. So they're a little off, but I mean, it's still a good size.
That's what she said.
But depending on how like short your arms are or how long you want your chain, some people like the chain or rope to be longer, some people like it to be shorter. The shorter it is, the faster it will be, and you can do more fancier things like that. But usually I think the rule of thumb is no wider than about the width of your palm. And when I actually got these foam ones, the links, there was like 8 links. I don't know, it was pretty long for me because I got short little T-Rex arms. So I took off 2 links from that, and this now is like a perfect size for me. I can do like the wrist rolls and stuff, and I'm starting to get a hang of it. So it might take you a little bit to get the perfect pair and size for you, and that's why making these is cheap and not too hard if you got some basic skills and a couple little basic tools. And then you can experiment with different sizes, like longer nunchucks, shorter ones, longer, shorter lengths on the rope, and fine-tune what's best for you. And this whole 100-foot roll of paracord I think was like $7 or $8, and a pack of 12 of the wooden dowels was like 15 bucks, I want to say. So for pretty cheap you can make a whole bunch of different sets. Actually, one of the first sets that I made when I just started training was this aluminum set, which everyone I know on TikTok and everyone was freaking out saying, "You're gonna hurt yourself." But I did pretty much the same concept with these, with the 2 holes, and I got the knot inside of there, and they actually work really good. These were some extra clip-on handlebars I had from an old motorcycle build I was custom doing, so I thought that was kind of cool, more for decoration or for show when I get a little better with the nunchucks. But these yeah, they hurt when you get hit with them.
It is scientific fact.
So in this set, I did this as a practice run, just to kind of see how it would work. I'm going to actually lower this hole just a tiny little bit when I do the 2 holes. That way it's not too close to the edge for like chipping. And also on this set, right here where the rope sits, you can see how it kind of sticks out a little bit. On this set I didn't do it, but on the one I'm showing you here in the video to make, I'm going to show you how you're going to chisel out underneath of this a little bit from that hole to this hole, so that way this part of the rope can sit more flush and won't stick out as far. And honestly, even with it like this, when I'm using it, that really doesn't bother me or affect me at all. And when you're cutting out your dowel or whatever you're using for your nunchucks, you can use just like a basic hand saw or a bandsaw. So on this other set that I made, these are the 11 3/4 inches that it came with. I didn't trim them at all. So when you get these dowels, a lot of times you'll see like imperfections, like dark spots on the wood, depending if you're going to paint them or not. That's why I buy these in a pack of like 12. That way you can mix and match and get them to look as similar as possible. But with this pair, this is the only one that has this line in it. So what I'm going to do with this pair, after I drill it and sand it and all that, I'm going to take a torch and burn the wood to blacken it. Maybe sand some spots and do like a design. I'm not too sure yet. But after I'm done with the nunchucks too, I put like cutting board oil on there. So it helps kind of seal it up and gives it like a darker color like that. Alright, and when you're measuring out your holes and cutting and all that, it would really help to have like a little vise like I have here. I just have kind of screwed down to the table, and this one will flip up and down too, as well as the way it sits right now. But this way to make it easy, you want to wrap the dowels in like a towel or a paper towel and hold it in place when you do your drilling. That way you can get it straight through. And another thing to help is putting a piece of wood underneath your nunchuck when you're drilling it to prevent blowout. Alright, like I said before, on this one, top hole I did about a 1/2 inch down from the top. On this set, I'm going to go 3/4 inch down for the first hole. Then I'm going to go 3/4 inch down from that hole. And use a nice good little bit here. Now I'm going to mark the other one and then drill them out. Alright, got the holes marked out. I'm going to wrap some paper towels around here and put it in the vise and drill it out. Alright, I got some paper towel wrapped around here to keep the vise from scratching it. And then I have another piece of wood like this underneath it here, so when I drill through, it'll help with wood chips and messing up the other side of the wood when you drill through. Alright, and as for drill bit sizes, that really changes. It all depends on the size of your dowel, the thickness of your cord or whatever you're using. So pretty much you want these two holes, you want the drill bit to be slightly bigger than the rope you're using, and then you're going to want a bigger drill bit that's like twice the size of the rope for the end piece here, and maybe even a little bit bigger. That way you can round this off, that way the rope swings around nicely. And I always just start with a smaller drill bit just to do some pilot holes. Alright, I went through first with the small drill bit and did the pilot hole, and then I put the bigger drill bit on there and did them 2 holes. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a pilot hole here on this front part, and this, you want to make sure you get this as center as you can. You can go in there with a file and clean it out if you're not completely center and fix it, but it's just best to get it center right from the start. And when you drill through this part here, you only want to go through to this first hole. You don't want to drill all the way through to the second part. And then I'll show you why when I go to rope the cord through there. Alright, I got that hole pretty centered. Went through only till this hole here. Now I'm going to step up the drill bit and go through this again. Alright, I got these holes drilled and the big one on here. Now you want to make sure that this part here is big enough for the knot, so when you loop the rope through, I'll show you in a little bit, but there will be a knot, and then I'll seal that knot, and then the way you slide it, it'll be hidden in here. Also, another thing I'd like to do when I have the bigger drill bit here is to go on the little holes here and just kind of drill it out a little bit and kind of countersink it. That way when you sand these, it's already got that shape. Makes it a little easier, more even. Alright, well, I'm going to do the other side and get everything even, and then I will be back. Alright, got all the holes drilled out. Got the top holes there and done. Now I'm going to take some sandpaper and smooth out all the edges. And round everything off so there's no sharp jagged stuff that could fray the rope. Definitely don't want these flying off and hitting the neighbor's cat.
Well, here's the problem right here.
Now I'm going to carve out this little channel in here for that rope to sit flush in there. Alright, I just drew on here with a Sharpie to give myself a little reference to where I'm going to chisel out. Got the groove here on one side started. I'm actually using my Dremel. And then I have this round file. I can smooth this out, and then same here. You want to smooth all these edges where that rope is going through there. Just make it nice and smooth. And I have this little test knot piece here. That way I can test to make sure the hole's big enough there. And I can put it through here and see how deep I need to make the groove. Alright, got the grooves in there. And before I take sandpaper to that and the rest of it, I'm going to cut a little bit off the end and make it about 1 inch shorter. Alright, I'm cutting an inch off of here to make these 11 inches. A little bit different than those. Those were 11.8. I'm going to make a bunch of different sizes. That way I can see which is best for me. The first one trimmed down. As you can see, why I put the wood under here is when you're sawing through. A lot of times if you don't have something underneath there, when you get down to a little bit left, it can crack and split down here, and you don't want that.
Oh, that makes me angry.
Alright, I got them cut down to 11 inches and I rounded off the ends just a little bit. Now that I got these pretty much all finished, all the sharp edges I have sanded down, smoothed everything out. I'm going to take my torch and burn this and darken it up and see how that turns out. Alright, took the torch to it and got this really cool random textured design on there. I think it looks pretty good. Now I'm going to put some this cutting board oil on here like I did on the other ones. Should seal it up and give it a nice look. Alright, this one I got the oil on. Look at the difference. This just looks like a dried up piece of driftwood. And then when you add the oil, brings the nice wood colors out. Contrasts nice with that dark. Let me know what you think, if you dig this look. You can also torch it more so like the whole thing is dark black. I mean, you can do it like stripes, half and half. There's so many different ways you can do it. Yeah, I'm really liking how these turned out. Really cool texture on there. Yeah, definitely let me know in the comments what you think, how this looks. And if you check out my channel, you'll notice that I make custom knives. So eventually I'm going to be doing some epoxy work on some of these nunchucks to make some glow-in-the-dark ones. And just some different designs and things like that, so stay tuned. Alright, well the only thing left to do now is to string it up and swing these things around. And this is the paracord that I'm using, type 3. 7 core. This is some pretty beefy stuff. I think it's like 550 pounds. For the cord, I usually cut out about 24 inches. That's plenty enough, depending on how long you want yours, I guess. If you want yours super long, it might need longer, but this usually gives me enough. There's a little bit left over after I do my knot. Alright, after you cut your paracord out, you're going to want to melt the ends with a lighter or a torch. But melting the ends will help keeping them from fraying. And I usually do them to like a little point so it's easier to feed through the nunchuck. So what I usually do first is I will come through the top hole and then come out one of these top holes like that, and then through the bottom hole. So it's going in through the top, out through here, in through here, out through the other side, and you're gonna feed some more of that in, pull this through, And then on this opposite side, you're going to take that and then put it through this hole and then up back through the top. This one is a little trickier since you already have this rope in there. So I'll usually put it in here and then get like a pick or something like this and grab it and pull it through the top. Alright, once you feed it through the top like that, pull it through. So now you see it's going through there, and both ends now are coming out through the top. And then you're going to want to do that same thing on the other side. Okay, you got the one end coming out here and the other on this side. Now this is where you're going to adjust how long your cord is. So you're going to want to loosen these up and pull these apart and get your desired width. A lot of people like to do it the width of their palm. I'm going to be doing this to mimic the foam ones that I train with. Try to make it as close as possible. And as a reference, I'm just using my training nunchucks here, and I'm going to spread these apart here and get it as close as I can. And when you get this the desired length, you're going to just pull on these two against the nunchuck to kind of tighten this up in here, because after you do the knot and everything, it might stretch out just a tiny little bit, but I try to pre-stretch the cord so that really doesn't matter too much. So you get it to your length, and then you're going to want to make sure there's tension on this cord and tie this into a knot, and then you'll trim the ends here and melt them, and then I'll show you how to put the knot in here and height it. Got my length all set, got this tied in a knot right here. I'm going to trim these ends and then melt those ends with a lighter just to help from the knot coming undone. And alright, as for the knot, I'll heat it up with a lighter, and then I'll flatten it like that. It makes it kind of like a little flathead nail on both sides so the knot can't come loose. So what you're going to want to do is loosen up these on both ends like that and give yourself some slack. Then you're going to want to move the end with the knot, pull it through so that part goes into the top here. So you find this one, and that's that. So I'll pull that one through there while you're pulling this one out, and then this one through, and then you can use something to push this through also, but you want this knot to be as far down while pulling this, so you have that knot down in here. That way it's not out and it looks nice and classy. Alright, as soon as you got that pulled through and you're not all the way down there, you pull this other one and make sure these two are very tight. And then you'll notice there's a lot gap here. Then you're going to go on this side and loosen these up. And then usually just kind of give it a little tug, and it'll tighten up. But there you go. Alright, just like that. I'm actually really impressed. Yeah, I'm really liking that burn texture look to it. A little something different. Yeah, super easy to do, simple. You got basic tools and you can make yourself a set. Well, thank you for watching the video. Make sure you hit that like button, really appreciate it. Let me know down in the comments if you're planning on making a pair for yourself. And also, I have the most dangerous nunchucks in the world, my little pocket chucks. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay tuned, because I will be doing some random giveaways of some of these pocket chucks and maybe some other things. When you're watching one of my videos, I might just randomly give you a code word to say in the comments, and the first one who says it will get a pair for themselves. Alright, well, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you on the next one.